It's 1 month until I'm on holiday, 30 sleeps. But first, it's Friday. This is The Week That Was, with me, your host, Simon Brown. And it's the all-boys show as Chantal is out, leaving me with Sasfin Securities, David Shapiro, Vestact's Khumalo. I don't know, ho-hum. Did we get more all-time highs? I think we're up to 50, 51.
We hit 50th. That's the last time I checked and actually did some work.
Markets are a bit of ho-hum this week.
Yeah, and then we get Powell, you know. He doesn't like to lose the limelight to a chap called Trump.
Exactly.
So he says, I'm going to show you who's boss. And he came out with his miserable speech last night that maybe there's no need to keep reducing rates, going to look at the data again.
Which is what he's been saying.
Yeah, I know. But he wanted to just exert his power and show that he's still got, some kind of...
For another 2 years.
Yeah, he can influence markets. So I think markets just teetering slightly. But Simon, it's not going to make much difference. Rates will start to come down. Inflation's a little bit sticky. But we can't, as we go into this last month, I mean, if you go back to the start of the year, we would have bought this 10 times over.
We tried to buy it in January for about half of what it was. I mean, it worked last year. The trade didn't work this year. So absent of news, I cunningly wrote the script this morning and I forgot the big story in the JSE. Boxes coming. The hype is astounding. Is this for real?
It is for real, apparently. But like I said, I'm just going to...
You're not phoning the bank?
No, I just have to sit and watch this one closely. I don't know, man.
Can we stag it? Remember stagging?
Yeah.
Can we stag it?
That's exactly what people want to do.
Yes.
Because we're so starved of something exciting in our markets that when Boxer comes along, which has always been in Pick and Pay, it's embedded in there. The fact that Pick and Pay might be taking a lot of value away from it is another story. But I think people just want some excitement in buying it. It's exactly for a stagging profit. They'll do well. They're a decent company at the bottom end of the market. But I think this is going to be fun to stag. And so if you can get some, you can pay for that.
Yeah, but you're going to apply for X and you're going to get...
Oh, no, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Also making news this week, Orange starts appointing his cabinet, and it's wild, like the Attorney General appointment who is under investigation for sex trafficking involving a minor, or the Department of Government Efficiency that has 2 heads seems inefficient. Postbank made a profit because fraud was down. Who knew? Meta is fined 841 million by the EU. That's Tuesday's revenue, right? Norway calls the US underdeveloped because of poor healthcare infrastructure. Seems fair. Our water minister says no water crisis, even as our Concord can't operate because no water. Berkshire has their biggest pile of cash ever. COP29 is a cop-out. Anybody surprised? Robex rocks, telcos suck, and YouTubers are not great footballers. But first, crypto. Orange is apparently crypto-friendly, with expectations he'll fire SEC Chair Gary Gensler because he dared to try and regulate the industry. Bitcoin hit 93,500, while Doge rallied 300% in the last month. Here's Christo de Wit, SA Country Manager for Luno, on the promises.
If we look at the 2024 in its entirety, it's given indications of a bull market, but it has been relatively muted. We've seen a lot of optimism. There's a lot of growth coming out of 2023, but definitely this last week with the excitement in the industry over the election of Donald Trump, who is a very pro-crypto candidate, we see that the bull market has definitely picked up a lot of speed.
I don't know what Trump is or isn't, but certainly the crypto bros are out on Twitter.
Yeah. Have you ever spoken to a crypto brew? You say, buy Bitcoin. You say, okay. Buy Bitcoin. Okay. Is that the conversation? Buy
Literally
Bitcoin.
every 5 seconds, you get bots telling you that.
There's no story around it. And the stories we've heard before.
Well, the story's changed, right? The first story was it was a hedge against inflation, and then it was a currency, and now it's just when the thing goes up, Sabas.
Yeah, it's a greater fool's theory. The only reason why it's going up is because they've managed to pull in enough people into the cult to, fulfill their greater fool's theory. Because, I mean, if there's a greater fool willing to buy at a higher price, the price is going to keep going up. And when that volume dries out, which is it's something you see very regularly with crypto, it tanks to 30,000.
Or 8 or 6 or 4.
Exactly.
What
and then
you're
it comes,
saying now
it comes
drives them mad. I don't care if they made money. I love it when people make money.
Make money, that's cool.
You know,
If you made money, cool. 2 thumbs up to you, but it's just not for me.
One of them bought us lunch once. I mean, like I'm not arguing. Hey, you're making money. That's why we're all here, right?
There's nothing more boring than talking to a whole bunch of cryptos, buy crypto.
It's the same with gold bulls. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm a gold bull.
I know, same story.
We'll get to gold now. It's awkward, I know it. I shower extra hard every morning, I promise. We got local unemployment data this week and it was better. Unemployment down 1.4%, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's still 32.1 and worse, way worse for the youth, i.e. those under 35. And actually, if you pull the numbers apart, unemployment for over 35 is 22, for over 35 is 44, for under 24 females, it's 70 odd.
Simon, I always explain it. The reality of it is that, I say, if you meet 10 people in the street, 7 are employed, 3 are unemployed. The 7 that are employed have to keep the 3 that are unemployed. In other words, from their earnings, you have to keep them in health, in education, in just general living standards. That's the reality of 30% unemployment. You know, and of course you can overlay that with all the other statistics about the families there. But that's the drag on this economy. It will always be a drag because you can't leave those 3 just to starve or just to live in the streets.
And the stat you didn't add to that is that from those 7 that are working, only 2 are actually in the right tax bracket to actually support those 3, which is crazy. But in my age group, it's worse. So for every 3 people, only 1 out of those 3 has a job. It's insanity.
Do we ever get to single-digit unemployment? Like ever? Forget our lifetimes, in your lifetime. Do we? I mean, it is so structural now.
There is potential if, but you have to change the mentality of the politicians. You have to be pro-jobs. You have to be pro-South Africa. And at this point, they're just pro-looting. So it's not going to work until that mentality changes. If you want to see infrastructure, being built in South Africa, if you want to see, dustbins being collected, if you want to see, once we work on those things, water getting, from the dam to the tap without any hindrance in between. That's what you want for an economy to actually start working properly. Then you're going to see jobs starting to get made, whether it's, white collar, blue collar, it doesn't matter.
We don't mind the color of the collar.
We just want the jobs, and we have to start somewhere.
Too many rent seekers. That's
There's too many rent seekers.
If I've got the position,
and there's no repercussions in South Africa. That's the worst part. Everyone knows that if I do something wrong, nothing's going to happen.
Looting doesn't employ a lot. You need a bag carrier and a bodyguard, and that's it. There's no employment.
When you look at the US, what's happening there at the moment, and the stimulus that's going to happen, they're just going to run away. And all the socialist countries, and I'm going to include Europe,
well, if you look at there's a chart on Twitter this week of Europe and the UK, Europe and the US over the last 20 years, and they've just diverged. Crypto is booming, but gold and US Treasury bills are crashing as the 10-year yield is now back around 4.4, up almost 1% in the last 2 months. Gold off over 10% in little over a week. David, you're the boffin here for this one. So we've got a disconnect. We've got the bond market who are saying things are bad because, they pushed the yields up. Equity saying things are great. Bond market usually wins, doesn't it?
I think the bond market is actually a reflection of how good the US is. And as Powell said last night, we don't have to reduce interest rates. So 4.5%, where the 10-year is slightly higher than it should be, maybe come down to 4, which will still give you a positive yield after inflation at 3.5. But I think what's driving the equity market is the stimulus that's going to come, and also confidence. And the confidence drives confidence. It drives M&A. It drives investment in new things. So I think the US is just showing the way. That's really, so it's a combination of the factors that you brought in, but it's pretty strong there.
So you're buying gold?
No, I've never bought gold. And the worst thing is that probably gold mines, would be the place to be. But listen, gold's going up because central banks are buying gold.
Yeah.
Good for them. I don't mind. I'm never against anything that goes up. It does. We
Bottom
can't
left,
be
top
in
right, we
everything.
like.
Yeah, we can't be in everything. You can't be in crypto, you can't be in gold, you can't be in bonds, you can't be in equities. I've only got enough time to read equities, and that's my area of kind of.
Or enough money.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't spread it around. You end up being an index. Also.
Yeah, because I look at the market and there's 100 things I want to own, but if I own all 100, I must just go buy the ETF.
Yeah,
Exactly. So I just stick
Pick
to
your
the same.
poison.
I just stick to the same 14 things,
Yeah.
and they seem to have worked for me.
Cool. Okay. No, I'm not arguing with that. And as long as it's going bottom left, top right, we all smile. Before the break, our Water and Sanitation Minister told Parliament on Tuesday that South Africa was not experiencing a water crisis. I mean, sure, Joburg may have water restrictions in a future that looks bleak and a closed concourt, but apparently this is not a crisis. I guess a crisis is when you don't get the kickback. This happened 20 years ago. It was power then.
Yeah.
A report to the cabinet said we have a power crisis, and it was denied. And well, look what happened. And we are going slow motion into exactly the same.
You see, this is exactly what you get when you vote into power people who are incompetent. I mean, usually
Or uninterested.
No, yeah, uninterested, just very displaced from what's happening in reality. You know what I mean? These people are not interested in anything except for the looting, obviously. It's a problem when someone comes with scientific evidence and you've put them there to bring you the data, and they bring you the data. Just because you don't like the data, you just dismiss
You
the whole
wash it
thing.
away.
Exactly. That's not how life works. If I did that exact same thing I'll be fired tomorrow.
And with you and your 14 stocks. David, the trick is, without power, I could light gas, I could light a candle, I could
Without
eat
water.
snacks. Without water. I mean, when we lost water, and I used to live in an old part of Joburg, after 3 days, you would check into a hotel.
Yeah, no. With the water, you can't. It's a toilet, it's a bath, it's just eating.
It's sanitation.
And the worst thing as well, I'm a runner, and if there's a garage and there's a tap, I stop and drink. And my wife comes after me, she says, do you know that 80% of the water that comes out of taps has still got sewage in or something like this? So I say, I'm fine. I'm actually surviving even on tap water. But I do celebrate when I turn the tap and water does come out.
But you raise a point. There's two parts to the water crisis. One is no water.
Yes.
The other one is
Clean. It must be
water,
clean.
yeah.
It mustn't try to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm
alive. So I'm
You're alive.
surviving.
But there's, again, do we, much like unemployment, do
Yeah.
we expect this water crisis to be averted?
Oh, no. No, this is going to continue.
We just slow-mo
You know,
going
it's the
into-
same as electricity and power.
Yeah.
What we haven't discounted is that, yes, while Eskom is providing power, the infrastructure around it, the grid, is falling apart. You know, those power stations that haven't been checked for 20, 30 years are now starting to fall apart. So within your little districts or your municipalities, you're constantly having...
I'm in Rosebank now. One of us,
Yeah.
a substation blew up.
Yes.
I was chatting to. Apparently, that substation was 60 years old.
Yes, that comes back to
The only-
Same as the one in Houghton.
The only
Same
one
story.
older than it is David. After the break, results: the good, Robex, the ugly, telcos, and YouTubers are not real football players.